Imagine walking into a room where nobody truly listens. A manager is talking, but the team is checking the clock. A husband is explaining himself, but his wife has already stopped hearing. A customer is complaining while the employees wait impatiently for a chance to defend the company. Everyone is speaking, nobody feels understood. This is the human problem at the center. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The book was first published in 1936, but its message still feels surprisingly modern. Technology has changed, office have changed, social expectations have changed. Yet, people still carry the same emotional needs. We want to feel respect. We want our efforts to be noticed. We want our opinions to matter. We want someone to listen without immediately judging us. Carnegie book is not simply about becoming popular. It is not about pretending to like people, flattering them, or manipulating them. The key idea is if you want to influence people, begin by understanding that. The story begins with a simple truth. Most of us enter conversation thinking about ourselves. How can I prove my point? How can I make this person agree? How can I get what I need? How can I show that I'm right? Carnegie asks us to reverse the direction. Instead of being with ourselves, we should be with the other person. What do they want? What they are afraid of? What pressure are they carrying? What does their position make sense to them? This doesn't mean giving you up your own ideas, needs. It means recognizing that people rarely cooperate when they feel attacked, ignored, or humiliated. They become more open when they feel respected. Part 1. Stop fighting human nature. Don't begin with criticism. Imagine an employee who makes a mistake in an important result. The manager calls them into the office and says, "This is careless. You should know better." The employee may apologize. But instead, something else happens. They begin building a defense. The deadline was too short. The instructions were unclear. Another department sent the wrong information. The manager may be correct, but the criticism has pushed the employee away from responsibility and toward self-protection. Carnegie explained that criticism often creates resentment rather than improvement. People don't like seeing themselves as a foolish, lazy, or dishonest. When attacked, they protect their pride. This doesn't mean the mistakes should be ignored. It means we should separate the behavior from the person. Instead of "you are careless," say "this figure don't match the original data. Let us look at what happened and find a better checking progress." The problem is still addressed, but the person's dignity remains intact. The difference can save a workship relationship, a friendship, or even a marriage. People are hungry for appreciation. Think about the last time someone sincerely noticed your effort. Perhaps a manager thanked you for staying late. A teacher recognized your improvement. A colleague told you that your support made their work easier. The words may have taken only a few seconds, but you probably remember them. Carnegie argued that people have a deep desire to feel important. We want to know that our presence and contribution matter. Yet, appreciation is often missing from everyday life. Managers notice the errors but remain silent about good work. Partners remember what was forgotten but overlook everything that was done. Parents correct poor grades but say little about effort. Carnegie doesn't recommend empty compliments. Flattery is dishonest praise given to obtain something. Real appreciation is truthful and specific. Instead of "you are brilliant," say the way you stayed calm during that difficult client conversation helped the whole team. Specific appreciation feels real because it is connected to something the people actually did. People may forget instructions and presentation, but they rarely forget how someone made them feel about themselves. Speak to what the other person wants. Imagine trying to convince a child to eat vegetable by saying, "I want you to finish that because I prepared this meal." The statement explains what the parent wants. It says nothing about what matters to the child. Now you say, the foods will help your body become stronger for football, cycling, or dancing. The request is now connected to the child's desire. The same principle applies in adulthood. A company cannot successfully introduce a new system by saying, "We spend a great deal of money on this, so everyone must use it." Employees, you are thinking, will it make my job harder? Will I receive training? Will this save time? Will this threaten my position? Key idea. People become interested when they understand what an idea means for them. Part 2. Build relationship by making people feel seen. Become genuinely interested in others. At social events, many people try to be listened. They talk about their careers, achievement, and qualifications, and etc. But the people we enjoy most are often not those who speak the most impressively. They are people who make us feel interesting. They ask questions. They remember details. They listen without constantly trying the conversation back toward themselves. Carnegie encourages us to become genuinely interested in other people. Imagine meeting someone at a business conference in New York, London, Paris, or Berlin. Instead of immediately explaining your own work, you could ask, "What project are you most excited about? What brought you into this profession? What has been the biggest challenge this year?" The aim is not to perform curiosity. It is to enter another person's world. When people feel that we are sincerely interested in them, trust begins to grow. The power of warmth. Carnegie famously advises people to smile. This does not mean wearing a false expression or pretending that every situation is pleasant. The deeper principle is warmth. Imagine entering two cafes. In the first, the employee barely looks up and speaks as though your presence is an inconvenience. In the second, the employee makes eye contact, greets you naturally, and treats you as though you are welcome. The coffee may be the same, but the experience is completely different. A smile, a warm tone, and a moment of attention communicate something simple. You are not invisible. Different culture express armed differently. An American greeting may be more openly enthusiastic. A British greeting may be more restrained. In part of Europe, people may be initially appear formal but become formal over time. The exact impression may change. The human need doesn't. People respond positively when they feel welcome. remember people's names. A person's name is closely connected to their identity. Remember, it shows that we paid attention in international workplace. This principle becomes especially meaningful. People should not feel pressure to shorten or change their names because colleagues refuse to learn the correct pronunciation. Asking someone how to pronounce their name is a small act of respect. Using it naturally shows recognition. Carnegie point is not that we should repeat someone's names in every sentence. That can shoot artificial. The real lesson is that people want to be treated as individuals, not as a replicable faces in a room. Listen as though their story matters. Imagine telling a friend, I'm worried that I may lose my job. The friend immediately responds, you think that is stressful? My workplace has been terrible for months. The friend may not intend to be insensitive, but your experience has deserted. Good listening requires us to remain with another person's story before moving to our own. A better response might be that sounds frightening. Have they told you anything clearly? Carnegie describes the good listening as one of the easiest way to become a better conversationalist. People often don't need an immediate solution. They need space to speak. They need someone to listen without correcting, complaining, or preparing the next reply. In relationships, leaderships, healthcare, and customer service, listening can transform conflicts. Sometimes people calm down simply because they finally feel heard. Here, talk about what matters to them. A customer, an employee, and investor may look at the same proposal very differently. The customer may care about reliability. The employees may care about workload. The investor may care about risk and return. A poor communicator give the same speech to everyone. A skilled communicator understands the interest of the listener. Carnegie encourages us to talk in terms of what matters to the other person. This is not manipulation. It is relevance. Communication becomes meaningful when people can connect it to their own concerns and responsibilities. Make people feel important, sincerely. Imagine a senior executive visiting a local office. They speak only to the directors, but barely acknowledge the receptionist, cleaner, or junior employees. Everyone notices. Carnegie argues that every person wants to feel important. It doesn't mean every opinion must be accepted. It means every person deserves dignity. Job titles may describe responsibility, but they do not measure human value. A leader who speaks respectfully to everyone creates a culture. People remember a leader who respects only powerful people reveals something about their character. The key word is Carnegie principle is sincere. People can usually sense when respect is being performed. Real respect appears in the way we have when we have nothing obvious to gain. Part 3. Influence without creating enemies. You can win an argument and still lose. Imagine two people's argument online, each person becomes more determined to prove the other wrong. They post evidence, they question each other's intelligence. One person eventually identifies a mistake and declares victory. But has anyone changed their mind? Probably not. The defeated person may hold their opinion even more strongly because they now feel publicly embraced. Carnegie warns that there is rarely a true winner in an argument. Even when we prove someone wrong, we may damage their pride and lose their goodwill. This doesn't mean remaining silent when facts matter. False information, harmful behavior, and injustice may need to be challenged. But many everyday these agreements are not about truth alone. They are also about identity and dignity. Before training an argument, ask, am I trying to solve the problem or am I trying to make the other person feel defeated? The key idea is being right is not always the same as being effective. Never with you are wrong. Few perhaps close a conversation faster than you are wrong. Those words do more than challenge any idea. They challenge the person's judgment. A better approach might be, I see it differently. I may be mistaken, but this is how I understand it. Would we examine the information together? These phrases leave room for discussion. They also leave room for possibility that we may be wrong. Carnegie encourages intellectual humility. A person who admits uncertainty does not appear weak, they appear honest. Admit your mistakes quickly. Imagine a manager who sent the wrong deadlines to team. When the mistake becomes obvious, the manager says, you mean understood my message. Everyone knows this is not true. The manager may protect their pride for a moment, but they lose trust. Now, imagine the manager saying, I gave you the wrong deadline. That was my mistake, and I apologize. Here is how we will correct it. The problem still exists. Trust may actually increase. People don't expect perfection. They do expect honesty. Admitting a mistake quickly can end an argument before it begins. An apology often requires courage because it means placing truth above ego. Being in friendly way, the first few moments of a difficult conversation often decide its direction. Compare these two opinions. Your performance has become unacceptable. I appreciate this work you have done. I would like us to look honestly at where things are become difficult. Both conversation may address the same problem, but the second opening reduces the fear and creates the possibility of cooperation. A friendly beginning does not mean avoiding hard truths. It means delivering them without unnecessary honesty. Carnegie understood that the people rarely become more reasonable when they feel threatened. Part 4. Lead without damaging people. Being with honest price. Imagine being called into a manager office. The manager begins listening everyone you have done wrong. Your body becomes tense. Who prepared to defend yourself? Now imagine the manager beginning differently. You have built a strong relationship with the client. There is one area in the reporting process that we need to improve. The correction is still real, but the employee can hear it without feeling that their entire conversation has been dismissed. The Carnegie advice leaders to begin with honest price before discussing mistakes. The only works when the price is genuine. False price followed by criticism can feel like a trap. The purpose is to remind people that one mistake does not erase everything they do well. Call to mistakes indirectly. Direct correction can sometimes embrace people, especially in front of others. Imagine a colleague making an error during a presentation. Public announcing the mistake may protect accuracy, but damage confidence. Could we check that figure against the earlier slide? The problem is correct without humiliating the speaker. Carnegie's principle is not to hide errors. It is to correct them in a way that allows people to keep their dignity. Talk about your own mistakes first. Advice is easier to accept from someone who does not pretend to be perfect. A manager might say, when I first handled this process, I made a similar mistake. What have helped me was creating a simple checklist. Now the employees does not feel judged by someone standing above them. They feel guided by someone who understands. Sharing our own mistakes can make correction feel human rather than superior. It communicates you are learning. I had to learn to ask questions instead of giving orders. There is a significant emotional difference between change this immediately. Could you revise this section before the client meeting? Both may lead to same action, but the same gives the person a sense, dignity, and participation. Let people save face. A person may already know they have faith. Public humiliation adds nothing useful. Imagine an employee whose role is being removed. The organization could treat them as a problem to be eliminated, or it could be recognize their contribution, communicate privately, and help them live with dignity. The key idea, letting someone save face is not dishonest. It recognizes that the correction does not require cruelty. The emotional heart of the book, at the center of how to win friends and influence people, is simple human question. How do people feel after spending this time with us? Do they feel smaller? Do they feel judged? Do they feel that they have to fight to be here? Or they feel respected, understood, and encouraged? Imagine returning to the meeting from beginning. Project is late. The customer is unhappy. The team is under pressure. The manager could begin with the blame. Who caused this? The other could say, we have a serious problem, but I know everyone here wants to solve it. Let us understand what happened and decide what we can do next. This is the Carnegie mess. Influence does not begin with power. It begins with respect. Friendship does not begin with trying to impress people. It begins with genuine interest. Leadership does not begin with giving orders. It begins with understanding, humility, dignity.